Join us for our upcoming fundraiser, A Feast for the Senses, at Ardmore Music Hall on September 29th to help HRN expand our table and provide even more resources to the next generation of food storytellers. This is going to be an unforgettable night of flavors, crafted by Best of Philly chefs Randy Rucker and Eli Collins, with sounds curated by Philly-based Spaga featuring Aaron Magner, and conversations inspired by Delicious City Philly host Eli Kulp. You can find tickets at heritageradionetwork.org/feast. And if you can't make it to our fundraiser, please consider donating to support our education programs at heritageradionetwork.org/donate.
You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
HRN is food radio supported by you. Learn more at heritageradionetwork.org.
This episode is brought to you by Wisconsin Cheese. We've been making cheese in Wisconsin since before we were even a state, which may be one reason why we win so many awards for it. It's what happens when a whole state dreams in cheese. Find your next favorite cheese at wisconsincheese.com.
This is Capri Cafaro, host of Eat Your Heartland Out. This week, I welcome two food entrepreneurs whose work is rooted in a deep sense of purpose. 6 years ago, Sarah Kubiak founded the Vanilla Bean Project, a company driven by commitment to regenerative business practices. Jason Noel is Chief Operating Officer of Abbott's Candy, the oldest confectionery in Indiana, and it's still around due to its focus on preserving tradition. They're both coming up. Sarah, thanks so much for joining Eat Your Heartland Out. We appreciate it.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Well, the Vanilla Bean Project is something that I, was immediately drawn to because, when you think vanilla, you don't necessarily think Minnesota. So I was super interested in finding out what drove you to create the Vanilla Bean Project and because the Midwest and vanilla are not necessarily talked about in the same sentence when it comes to, production. What made you decide vanilla was your calling?
Sure. So my husband and I, we worked together, and about 6 years ago, we really wanted to create a business that would really combine both of our skills. So we did some research into some crops or some things that we could do together. And actually, first of all, we started with black pepper because we thought black pepper was like a fantastic story. We could sell black pepper, but it didn't work out the way that we wanted. So then we looked into some additional crops and we fell in love with vanilla. There's just so much about vanilla that people don't know about, that we can tell the stories about, and that we figured out that we could make it. So we thought, wow, we could really do this. We could really make vanilla in a new and a modern way and really and that would really impact people, not just the growers, but the people that use our vanillas, the makers that use our vanilla in their products.
Well, I can tell how passionate you are about vanilla. But before we move on to the core of the Vanilla Bean Project, I got to ask about your, dabbling with black pepper. Why black pepper, and what made it not work the way that you thought?
Sure. So, we were always really interested in supply chain, and my husband and I are kind of passionate about that. And it's all about, for us, it's about the growers and the farmers. And so black pepper, there is the farmers who grow it are really at the victim of the price cycles are very they go high and very low, and it's not at all stable, and it really impacts them in a negative way. And we really thought that that people could really kind of latch on to that, and we could really share that story. So with it not working, it's because black pepper is a commodity, and so it's really hard in a commodity product to show the value. And that's like with the vanilla, we're adding making the extract is really where we can add that value that we were looking for.
So tell me about your process. You've been making vanilla for how long?
We've been making vanilla for 6 years, and we are actually self-taught. So my husband ordered this book from the internet, an out-of-print book about how to make extract. So we taught ourselves, and we thought, if Ben and Jerry's can do it, so could we. Because Ben and Jerry's, that's how they started, is they taught themselves how to make ice cream. They got a book, and then they took a class. So we taught ourselves how to make extract. It's a simple process. I mean, it's true extraction. So you're taking the vanilla beans and you are extracting them with alcohol and water. So we taught ourselves, and we've been just kind of growing into it.
I mean, that you make it sound so easy, but it can't possibly be as simple. I know that there are just a few key ingredients and a, it sounds like a pretty straightforward process, but, as you all have been learning about, making the extract, what pitfalls did you come across? What did you learn in that process that kind of landed you where you are using the methodology that you are today at the Vanilla Bean Project?
Sure, we're really passionate about cold extraction, and what that means is that we cold extract, which means we're not using heat. And the reason why that's important is it really protects the flavor and the aroma of the vanilla bean, because it's such a beautiful core product. The vanilla beans are the fruit of an orchid, so it really allows that natural flavor and goodness to really shine through in our extracts. And for us, when we were growing, and for us, it's about just, how to make more. Because when we started with just a single canister, stainless steel canister, but now we make vanilla in quite a large volume. So it's just kind of learning to scale as we grow our business.
And that's hard. I mean, particularly because I know how much, you value your grower partners, those that actually grow the vanilla.
With growing the business, we have a lot of in common, and we feel a great amount of connection with other makers, because the artisan process that people are making, brewing beer, or they're making other artisan process, we feel that same passion and that same energy with our vanilla extract production.
That's awesome. And I want to go back to that point in a minute. But before that, I do want to talk a little bit about how you source your vanilla, because that's such a key component. I feel, if you don't have a quality product that you're working with, that's the first step. That's going to set the tone for your vanilla bean extract, as well as, I understand, you make paste.
Yeah, we do. Superior quality ingredients, I mean, you really can tell the difference. And vanilla, bakers will tell you that is one of the things that the real vanilla really makes the difference. So using the quality beans, which is really important to creating a quality extract, is really, we feel a great connection when people are making quality products.
Well, and vanilla only grows in certain parts of the world, and North America, or at least the Midwest, is not one of those areas. So how do you identify the farmers that you want to work with?
It's really important to us that we work with grower cooperatives, because we know by working with grower cooperatives that they are getting the most possible money that they can for their crops.
Right. And where do you source from? What countries and what regions?
80% of the world's vanilla, it comes out of Madagascar. So we are sourcing our vanilla beans primarily from Madagascar, but also we do source some vanilla beans from Indonesia.
Okay. And have you visited some of these places like Madagascar and Indonesia?
No, we haven't visited them personally, but we have met some of our suppliers there's a large organic trade show in Germany, and we met some of them directly. So having that personal connection is really important to us. And I have another story about a grower connection that we have. So we are the first vanilla company in the world to be regenerative organic certified.
I am so glad you brought this up, because I was going to ask you if you weren't going to bring it up.
Thank you. So in regards to sourcing, one relationship that we have that we're really proud of is there is a grower group They are a social enterprise business. They are women owned, and they're in Indonesia, and they are the first. They are the first in the world to grow regenerative organic vanilla beans. And so about a year ago, my husband, Andy, said, Sarah, I think we should become regenerative organic certified. And at first I was like, what's that? And then when I learned about it, I was like, absolutely, this is absolutely in alignment with our personal and our professional values. And this is absolutely something we should do.
So tell our listeners who might not be familiar with what that means. What does it mean?
Right. So regenerative organic certification is the gold standard for organic certification. So it's based on organic, and then there's a fair trade component, and then there's also a component you have to demonstrate you have policies in place for animal welfare, and then also soil health. So it truly is like a step above sustainability. So people who are passionate about regeneration or regenerative, they don't think it's enough to just be neutral, which is what sustainable is they truly want to be regenerative in our world, which means not only are we're not causing harm, we're actually adding to or making the world or our environment better. And the way that they do that specifically is their commitment to biodiversity, but also especially important is soil health. Soil health research is telling us that we have probably only about 60 years left if we keep going on this path with our topsoil and maintaining important, putting things in place like top crops or top covers and helping with erosion is really a wonderful first step in just really dealing with the global climate crisis.
That's really inspiring, and it's wonderful to hear and see so people coming together that are like-minded, that are committed, as you said, to having these shared values, finding one another, working together, and being entrepreneurs that are giving back, which is just wonderful. How long did it take you to get this regenerative status?
It is a process. I think the audit took about a few months, but because of our supplier was already regenerative organic certified, that certainly helped. And so I just also wanted to mention that the certification comes from an organization called the Regenerative Organic Alliance, and they are a certifying body that makes sure that all of the principles that I mentioned are being met. And so there's third party certification was really important. So it's not just greenwashing, that we need to meet certain goals to make sure that we're doing what we say we're doing. I just wanted to read this. This is the shared vision of the people that started the Regenerative Organic Alliance. And what they said is, we envision a thriving future through regenerative organic agriculture that heals our damaged planet and repairs our broken food system.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So it's just, as you can see, it's much bigger than just us, and it's really an exciting vision and really energizing to be a part of this movement.
Absolutely. And you are USDA certified organic as well, and kosher certified. So, you really are very mindful in, how you are engaging in your business practices. I also, if I am not mistaken, you are like gluten-free and, you have a number of other non-GMO, a number of other distinctions that, are probably very attractive, particularly for other makers, to go back to your earlier point about other makers, to make you very attractive to utilize as an ingredient for a baker or a restaurant, or whomever might be, or brewers, as you said, whomever might be looking for vanilla. I know you sell in bulk. Do you find that, you are working with other makers that do share your values in regards to, regenerative practices or organic, or at least giving back to the community in some way?
Oh, absolutely. We have an immediate connection with other food makers and food brands that are trying their best to do the right thing and the best thing. So having a clean label is really, really important to us and something that we're really proud of.
Absolutely. So who do you supply? I mean, if you don't want to tell us specific names, but what kind of businesses do you work with that use your vanilla in different types of contexts?
Sure. So there's granola companies, there's beverage companies, we have ice cream companies, coffee shops. Just we're really lucky because vanilla is one of the most popular flavorings in the world, and it's in so
Yes.
many products. So that's really exciting. We are really proud to not only have a strong local base of clients, but also some folks that have larger distribution too.
Yeah. No, I mean, you make a very good point that, vanilla is ubiquitous. It is, everywhere in one way, shape, or form. I mean, pretty much everybody has it in their, on their spice rack or in their kitchen cabinet. And it is used in these variety of different ways. You mentioned coffee and ice cream and granola. I mean, so many different applications. You can't really find a lot of recipes that don't even have at least like a little bit of vanilla in them. And so that really makes it a very, adaptable product. Is that one of the things that attracted you to vanilla as well? Kind of like black pepper in that sense, where like black pepper is kind of in everybody's, kitchen cabinet as well.
Absolutely. When we first started making vanilla, I was sampling at local grocery stores. And as you can imagine, vanilla is something that's really challenging to sample, right? And to experience. So I tried different things. So I'd have people smell it because having that rich aroma is really, it really kind of connects with people right away. But what I learned is that people, even very sophisticated customers, just didn't know where their vanilla was coming from. They don't see it as an agricultural crop. They don't. They've never really thought about it before. It just like when I said we make vanilla, their head would just kind of blow up because it's just this idea of people are very familiar with where their coffee is coming from and the story of their coffee production or their chocolate, but they've never even thought about that could possibly be the same with their vanilla. And I love that. I love kind of sharing that message and sharing the positive impact that we can make and just really kind of walking people through that story that it's the fruit of an orchid and that it takes 9 months and it has to be hand pollinated, and then this whole curing process that happens, that vanilla beans look like green beans when they're picked. I mean, there's so much fun stuff to talk about. And then this is before we even make the extract or the vanilla bean paste, and then we can talk about all the fun things we can use vanilla in or vanilla bean paste in. There's just so many great stories to be told.
I totally agree. And I love the enthusiasm in your voice about it as well. You mentioned the vanilla bean and the paste. I imagine that the paste process is slightly different than the extract process. So I want to know about that as well.
Absolutely. We're super proud of our vanilla bean paste, our organic vanilla bean paste. It's just such a great product. I mean, sometimes when people, when they try the vanilla bean paste, they switch over it to it completely and they actually stop using the extract. So let me tell you what's different about it. So with our paste, we're using a double fold extract. With double fold means you're using twice the vanilla beans in the extract. Mm-hmm. We're using actual ground vanilla, not exhausted pods, which are a byproduct of vanilla bean production. And it's clean label, so there's no artificial flavors or coloring in it, and so it's a clean label product. So it's just really intense. So it has the intensity of of really good premium extract, but you have that really luxurious specs that you get when you use it, because it has the beautiful vanilla bean seeds that you can see. When you put it in frostings or whipped cream or ice cream, but even chocolate chip cookies or brownies, people have told me, or it's great in banana bread. People are like, "What is it?" And people will ask them like, "What is it with what you just made?" And then people have told me it's the vanilla bean paste. So it's just a really fun product, and I just really love it.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you are making me hungry. And, it
Yeah.
is so true that that high quality vanilla can make all the difference. And I don't know what it is, but I mean, I feel like when you notice the vanilla bean, like the actual beans, those little black flecks in anything, at least for me, I automatically just get more excited and feel like it is like a more luxurious product in some way, shape, or form. So I'm with you on that. I think that is amazing. And it sounds like it's an incredible product. Now, do you notice that certain types of makers ask for paste over extract? Like,
Yeah.
who's choosing what there?
Right. So our coffee shop customers are paste because they're using it in their lattes, in their vanilla lattes.
Oh, interesting. So I was wondering about that. Like if there was like, because you know how sometimes you hear like vanilla roast, like if there's like how they might do something in the roasting process.
Right. So, really high-end coffee shops are making their own syrup. So, or they're, or they're using, so we have some coffee shops that are making their own syrups with our vanilla beans, but we also have other coffee shops that are making gorgeous lattes with our vanilla bean paste. And then with ice cream makers, it's kind of interesting. It's half-half. So it's half extract and half vanilla bean paste. I have this awesome client in Vermont. She makes ice cream. Her company is called Sisters of Anarchy. And not only do they grow
Awesome.
the fruit that they use in their ice creams, they make the ice creams. So it's just, but when we met in person, it was just an immediate connection because just when you understand quality ingredients and you understand, how important it is to support growers, and when you understand how important it is to have just to do whatever we can to make the world just a little bit a better place, you just always have an immediate connection. So the ice cream makers are using extract and paste, and then I have to tell you the bakers too. So they order both.
That's interesting. So what's next for you in the Vanilla Bean Project? I mean, what are you hoping, where do you hope the future takes you?
What I really hope is that people latch on to the regenerative organic certification, and they really support companies, brands that are doing this work to try to make our supply chain better, and that this and the regenerative organic market really grows like it has been, and it continues to grow. So we were on our local Minnesota news in January, and we had such an immediate response to from our local community. I think that people are really looking for fellow folks who care about the environment and taking a leadership role. So we believe that with the growth, there'll be continued growth with regenerative, and that we're really excited to be a part of that.
That's awesome, and I think that is a fantastic goal, and it sounds like it's already being recognized. Do you plan on getting involved in any other extract making?
No, I think that we're just gonna really stick with vanilla. There's just so much you can do with it, and I just feel like we've hardly scratched the surface.
I bet. Well, I can tell that passion is really going to get you through. So, Sarah, I'm excited to see what the future holds. I really want to check out this extract. If people want to check it out, because I know that they can, get it online and, also read a little bit more about your story and the regenerative process. Where can they find you?
They can order our products on Amazon is probably the best way to get our products, or on our website. You could search vanillabeanproject.com.
Okay. So vanillabeanproject.com to learn more, or check it out on Amazon. Sarah, thank you very much for taking the time today. And thank you for your passion for this incredible product that we all know and love, vanilla.
Absolutely. I mean, who says vanilla has to be boring? It's just really an amazing product.
I agree. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
After the break, we'll head over to Indiana, where I'll visit with Jason Noel, Chief Operating Officer of Abbott's Candy, the oldest confectionery in the Hoosier State.
This episode is brought to you by Wisconsin Cheese. There's a reason when you think of Wisconsin, you think cheese. Cheese is a huge part of Wisconsin's history and future. In Wisconsin, the state of cheese, the tradition of cheese-making excellence began 180 years ago, before Wisconsin was recognized as a state. Immigrants traveled to settle in this lush green hills of Wisconsin, bringing their cheese-making traditions with them. These storied skills, combined with the freshest milk available, created a cheese-making culture that is uniquely Wisconsin. Wisconsin's 1,200 cheesemakers, many of whom are third and fourth generation, continue to pass on old world traditions while adopting modern innovations in cheese-making craftsmanship. Find your next favorite cheese at wisconsincheese.com.
Welcome back to Eat Your Heartland Out. I'm your host, Capri Cafaro. Now I would like to welcome our next guest, Jason Noel. Jason is the Chief Operating Officer of Abbott's Candy, the oldest candy maker in Indiana. Abbott's is committed to preserving the original flavors the company was founded on over 130 years ago. Today, Jason is carrying on that tradition. Jason, thanks for joining Eat Your Heartland Out.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, I don't know anybody who doesn't like candy. So I feel like this is going to be a really fun and popular conversation with our listeners. Give us some background on Abbott's Candy and its history there in Indiana.
Yeah, Abbott's Candies has been around since 1890. It actually was started by W.C. Abbott. He actually was working for a candy tin company in Indianapolis called Dilling's Candy. And then decided to come back to Hagerstown to start Abbott's. And then he ran it till about 1942 when his son Bruce took over. And then Bruce unexpectedly passed away in 1949 at a movie uptown on Christmas Day.
Oh, goodness.
Yes. So at that point, Bruce's wife, Rhea, and his grandmother took it over. And then Rhea ran it till she passed away in 1987. And then in 2012, the last of the Abbotts decided to retire. And at that time, my family, the Noel family, decided to purchase the business. My father has been involved with Abbott's Candy since 1992. And opened up our Indianapolis location in 1993. And we're still in that same location 30 years later.
Wow.
Now that they're semi-retired, I run the day-to-day business. And then my brother, who lives in Texas, does a lot of our marketing and stuff like that. So,
well, it sounds like it continues to be a family affair, which is really interesting because, in this day and age, you don't really see family businesses. Granted, there's been two families involved, really, but you don't see that go for, crossing 3 centuries, 19th, 20th, and 21st century. If you rewind the tape all the way back to W.C. Abbott, what were their specialties when they first started Abbott's Candies?
Yeah, he actually started by making butterscotch. And then went away from that and started making the caramels, and that's what we're most known for. We still use the same recipe, still hand wrap, still use it's called a kiss cutter, which he bought, and it's from probably the 1800s.
Wow!
And we still use that same piece of machinery today. But yeah, he started with butterscotch. Decided to go away from that to the caramels, which we're thankful for, and that's what we're most known for.
And you still, I can't believe you still use that recipe today. As I'm taking a look at some of the information about Abbott's Candy, I see that, like many businesses during World War II, they had to cease operation because of the shortage of sugar and chocolate at the time. So it's interesting. How did they decide that they were going to, they were having to stop operations and then start back up? Do you know any of that history?
Just what I know is that, with World War II, sugar was in a lot of the goods were in other demands, and they couldn't really get sugar to keep making the caramel. So they kind of had to, like you said, cease operations. And I don't know for sure when it was, hey, let's get started again. But it wasn't too long after World War II was over that they really started picking back up and, making the product again. And a lot of it was also, men off fighting and women helping with the war efforts.
Right.
So it kind of was, candy was on the back burner at that point.
Right. Sure. Absolutely. And then of course things changed as, the war ended, people came home and, the baby boom started and, people are looking for those simple luxuries, which, candy is at the top of them. So, during the 30 plus years that your family has been, sort of the helm of the business, what has changed and what has stayed the same?
Well, I mean, we've tried to stay to what we're, the way it is, what has made us so successful. We've tried to stay with that. We've added some things here and there. We carry a line of 49 different varieties of chocolates that we make here, along with we have 7 different flavors of our caramels. But we also have wholesale available. We also do a lot with fundraising. But we've looked at different avenues of, with businesses of just growing the business here and there. But we also like to stay true to the old fashioned and stay true to where we are and who we are. We don't want to change for everybody. We like to stay with who we are. So.
Do you find that people are, from the area, maybe move out of Indiana and they say, I still absolutely have to have my caramels from Abbott's, and, they place an order and continue that taste that they remember growing up for now wherever they may live?
We hear that almost daily. People either coming into one of our retail locations or placing an order of how they remember grandma or grandpa or even mom and dad have a box of caramels at Christmas or Easter or whatever holiday, or this chocolate piece, reminds them of their mom and dad. Something along that lines of that is just a memory for them, and they want to keep that memory. They tell us all the time how now they send to their kids or their grandkids, or so we hear that quite often, and we're very lucky to hear that and blessed to hear that. That just tells you the type of product that we have.
How many retail operations do you have now?
So we currently have Hagerstown location also has a storefront, and then our Indianapolis location has a retail. It's just a retail location, and then we have different wholesale accounts through Indianapolis and around that carries our products where people could pick up.
How do you source your ingredients? I mean, I would imagine something that has this long of a history, you want to be utilizing quality ingredients to, because with such simple kind of like caramels, there's just a few simple ingredients and each one of them has to be quality, I'm sure.
Yeah, we have quite a directory of people that we use for different things. But we've been pretty lucky that we use the same company for the last, at least 12 years of getting our products from. And, we've been pretty lucky. Yeah. Have we had to look around, especially with the chocolate shortage that we were in last year and the beginning of this year with the chocolate prices, the way they, went up. Yeah, we have to look around, but we try not to go away from the quality. So I'm willing to pay more because it's the quality that people expect from our candy. Sure.
That makes total sense. Do you source anything locally? I mean, I know obviously chocolate is a different, beast altogether, but when it comes to milk and sugar and some of these other things, do you use locally sourced ingredients when you can?
Our milk actually comes from a company in Anderson, Indiana. They're called Prairie Farms. They're a milk company. So yeah, we use our milk as local. Some of our stuff is local that we've purchased, but a lot of it is not. So it's just so difficult to find exactly what we need locally for what we need. But we try to go local if at all possible.
Sure.
If it is possible, if it's not, then we just have to go with the Cisco's or the whoever that we need to use.
Sure. I mean, that's understandable, and you have to do what you can to adapt to the, changing and fluctuating costs and, shortage, as you said, whatever might be happening, you have to be able to adapt to that. But I'm sure, local milk is a really important thing, and it's good to know that milk is incorporated into some of the things that you do. Now, can folks come and get a tour of to be able to see where and how you make the candy if they came?
Yeah, so we have where you can schedule tours. Our tours have to be 10 or more people. We do those for groups, but anybody can come in and walk. We have what we call the front porch, and they can walk all the way back to our front porch and watch them make caramels. And then they also can look through windows to see where we do our chocolate room and also our rolling room where the ladies actually sit and hand roll each cream center for the chocolates.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, we also get a lot of tour groups that come in. We when the FFA convention is in town, we do a lot with them. They will come in and visit us. And we usually just do groups of 10 or more, and they get to go back into production and actually get to see everything a lot closer than, if you just walked into the store. So.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. And I got to go back to what you had said. I mean, we've talked a lot around the fact that you have managed to retain a lot of the, original recipes and the things that really have made this, Abbott's candy work over, last several hundred years. When you actually have people hand making this candy, what does that look like? How long does that take you?
Well, with the caramels, pretty much once we get a batch on the table, we use a water cooling table. Each batch is 40 pounds. We actually pour out and cook in an old copper kettle still, just the way he did back in 1890. And so by the time they get that and get it cooled, we can wrap a whole batch of caramel off in about 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. And we do about 5 batches a day, and we get about 900 pieces of caramel out of each batch. So you're looking, they hand wrap probably about 4,500 pieces of caramel a day.
Wow. That's unbelievable. And what is the training to be able to do something like this?
Well, it's a lot of our, it's funny when people, want to work here, we've talked about training and stuff like that. With us, though, it's a lot of hands-on training. Like I can sit and talk to you and interview you for 20, 30 minutes. And when I put you to work, it might not work out. But it's like an old car salesman when you got to throw them to the window and see who sticks kind of thing. And, that's what we have to do. It's a lot of handwork. It's a lot of standing and walking. And it's a lot of, they got to learn weights and measures, and they have to learn a lot of different things. But because, everything that we do has to be right on a number. We don't like to be under, because then we're short selling our customers.
Sure, absolutely. People they're expecting how much, if you're getting a quarter pound of, whatever chocolate, you want to make sure that's really a quarter pound, because that's what you were expecting. No question about that. And listen, just talking to you, I think that, I certainly, and I'm sure our listeners are getting a better appreciation and understanding what goes into, being an artisan confectionery and the work
and the balance and the talent and all the different things that go into making something that, is so special, but it's like it's an everyday luxury. So I'm really glad to get a better understanding into what goes into making candy, particularly there at Abbott's. Anything else that's on the horizon for Abbott's Candies that you'd like our audience to know?
Yeah, we're constantly looking at growing the business. So we're looking at different platforms to reach more customers, different wholesale platforms. So I would just tell people that, to be on the lookout for Abbott's. We're constantly looking to grow. And if anybody ever wants to come see us, and we're happy to see whoever wants to come see us. So that's, pretty much it.
Do you have a website or social media that folks can learn more?
Yeah, so we have a website. It's abbottscandy.com. They can order from there. They can look at the history of more. If they have any questions, they can reach us, or if they want to schedule a tour, all that can be done through there. Or if they're looking to wholesale or fundraise, everything can be done through there. Definitely. And we also have an Instagram, which is at Abbott's Candies. And then we have a Facebook page, which is Abbott's Candy. So, yeah, we have different social media.
Awesome. Well, Jason, thank you very much for sharing your story. Jason Noel, Abbott's Candies. They're the oldest candy producer in Indiana. Thanks so much for sharing your story. I definitely am hungry, and I'm sure our listeners are too.
Thank you for having us on.
You've been listening to Eat Your Heartland Out. This episode was produced by me, Capri Cafaro. Our audio engineers are Liam Warner and Armin Spengen. Theme music by Jason Shaw. You can learn more about the show by visiting heritageradionetwork.org/Eat Your Heartland Out. Eat Your Heartland Out is powered by Simplecast. Thanks for listening to Heritage Radio Network, food radio supported by you. Keep in touch at heritageradionetwork.org/subscribe.